for September 27th with Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Murdoch, will you lead us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Caroselli? Here. Mr. Dillard?
Present.
Mr. Lawson?
Here.
Mr. Lucy?
Mr. Lucy will be absent today.
Mr. Murdoch?
Here.
Mayor Sheeby? Mr. Sturbins?
Here.
Mr. Wood?
Mr. Wood will be absent today also. He's out of the country.
Mr. Wowo?
Here. Okay. So we still have a quorum though.
Yes.
Right? 6. All right. Anybody, public from comment? Anybody from the public wishing to speak? I don't have any comment cards. All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to approval of the agenda. Motion by Mr. Murdoch, second by Mr. Sturbins. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Approval of the minutes for August 23rd, 2018 Board of Directors regular meeting. Motion by Mr. Murdoch. Second by Mr. Wowo. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right. E1, RSCVA staff update. Mr. DeLone.
Thank you, Councilman. We're going to give the board a brief report on Interbike today. Interbike's inaugural convention and trade show cycled through Reno Tahoe September 16 to 20, just last week. The 66th largest trade show in America had an excellent experience for the first time in our destination, and that's according to Lori Jenks, the Senior Vice President of Emerald Expositions, the show's parent company. Interbike exclaimed they had the easiest and most...
That's for the phone call.
Sorry.
We're waiting for...
Interbike exclaimed they had the easiest and most seamless move-in of their trade show into our convention center in the show's entire previous history. So that speaks very well of the operation across the street. The pre-convention bike demo that we're all aware of that took place at North Star was a complete home run for the organization. Attendees and exhibitors enjoyed their first experience here in Reno Tahoe. The show's senior management learned much about our destination the first year here and is making adjustments to their pre-show marketing and operations to ensure next year is better still. All in all, Interbike left very happy, and that, of course, is our goal, isn't it? To make sure our customers are happy. Many thanks go to SMG, Kelly and Dante and your teams for providing the great attention to detail, and you really did superlative service over there. And you guys have been on board just a short time, but SMG did an excellent job, and the client was very, very happy. Thanks to Marilee Mora at the Airport Authority for her help, Reno Chamber of Commerce, RTC, and the cities of Reno and Sparks, and the entire Reno cycling community that all provided support whenever asked and wherever needed. Shelley Fine and Esther Isaac, I'd like to recognize from our sales and marketing departments, and their entire staffs went above and beyond to make Interbike's show and first experience here a success. And Interbike will return the same week in September of 19 and is booked here through 2022. On other business, the newly formed downtown Reno Business Improvement District, of which we are a $100,000 investor, held on September 6th its first joint meeting of the bid and of their board of directors and its advisory board. The RSCVA sits on the advisory board. The RSCVA, through its board of directors, as I said previously, has provided $100,000 in its first year funding, and the BID now operates as an IRS 501c6 corporation. The bid introduced and has hired Mr. Alex Stetinsky. His last name, for the record, is spelled Stettinski, as the Operations Executive Director. Mr. Stetinsky has prior experience running a BID, having served as the Director of Marketing and Communications for Los Angeles's downtown center business improvement district. He also previously worked for the Beverly Hills Chamber of Commerce and other related entities in West Hollywood. It was reported at the board meeting that the BID this year will operate on a budget of $2.35 million, and of that, $725,000 will be allocated to hiring a company called Street Plus. It is a company that specializes in downtown ambassador programs and keeping streets clean and safe. Mr. Tusinski verbalized that his vision for Reno's BID in downtown include the following key points. His primary purpose is to stabilize downtown streets, improve on downtown economic development. Sorry, sir. And attract more business to downtown, to quote, give residents and visitors more to do in the downtown corridor. Also, he will be activating the ambassador program by hiring through Street Plus 15 ambassadors, of which 2 or 3 of the persons will have social work education as well as prior social work experience. Ambassadors will address the homelessness that persists downtown. Mr. Stasinski reported that ambassadors will be on the streets of downtown Reno, hopefully no later than October 31st. Just as a footnote, Cindy Corano of El Dorado Resorts is the chairwoman of the BID, and also advised that that board will meet quarterly and will also include in all future meetings the advisory board as well. In turn, travel and leisure, every Chinese tour operator who has recently attended our China fam trips, of which we've had several this summer, of this destination, has booked and included Reno Tahoe now in a future travel series tour program. Thank you, Art. You did a great job. Great job, you and your team. These bookings so far represent about 750 possible room nights of new future business. Our Reno resorts have seen recently a slowing in the Chinese motor coach business here that has been identified by 3 factors. A higher than normal visa rejection level by the United States federal government, the Chinese economy is slowing slightly, and the current trade and tariff climate between the United States and China could be better than it is today. These factors are anticipated to be short-term challenges, not impediments to our long-term China tourism strategy. Regardless, Chinese international tour operators are bullish on Reno Tahoe and the West in general. Art will have some further detail in his report that's coming along in a few minutes. On the Reno Sparks Convention Center remodel, with regards to the carpet, that project is fully complete, and you'll see that anytime you wish. The painting work that complements it is complete, and the signage throughout the entire building is nearly complete, with just a few odds and ends left outstanding. The new trade show lighting has been ordered, and all 512 fixtures in the 5 exhibit halls will be completed no later than early December, well in time for early January Safari Club convention. Further, the 4 primary restrooms in the building will be remodeled completely by then also, so the SCI will have a great new look in the building. Some future board dates to keep in mind. October 25th meeting will now be a regular board meeting, and will be accompanying a presentation by our consultant, Guy Hobbs of Las Vegas, of Hobbs On, and they will be presenting their findings on the possible expansion of the Reno Sparks Convention Center. Again, that is October 25th at 9 a.m. At Chairman Lucy's recommendation, the half-day board retreat that was originally scheduled for October 25 will occur now on December 6. That is our regularly scheduled board meeting, as traditionally in November we do not have a board meeting. So that date is December 6th, and that is in order that we can include Mr. Hobbs' report and other discussion on that possible expansion project. That includes my report, sir. Any questions on that so far? Jennifer Cunningham will update us on some items.
Scorecard, if you'll turn to the scorecard, you'll notice that visitor volume for July was down 5.9%. If you go a little bit further down, you'll see overall occupancy reflects that decline with a 5% decrease from last July. This was fortunately offset by a 9% increase in ADR, which came in at $119.24, which is pretty remarkable. The end result, as you see, is total revenues were relatively flat with last year. At the top of the scorecard, you'll see now we're able to start putting in a comparison for website numbers, and they are showing a decline, and there's some specific reasons for that. In 2017, as you remember, we launched the new branding campaign, and May through, I think, the entire summer, we had a very robust advertising spend in those markets. We noticed a 22% increase in those markets in 2017. So now we're having a bit of an adjustment. I think these numbers, though, will be more meaningful when we look on a quarterly basis, because that will include ups and downs, increase and decrease in ad spend. So that will be much more relevant at that point. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Esther now. Phil had kind of touched base on the Interbike, and our staff stayed long hours last night to quickly pull together a great video and some information on how the marketing of the event occurred, to give you guys a glimpse if you didn't make it over the show floor.
Thank you, Jennifer. So just sort of recap, as we mentioned, further to what Phil already told you about the event and the activities. Prior to Interbike arriving this year, the marketing department worked very closely with Interbike on a regular basis, monthly and then bi-weekly meetings to coordinate marketing efforts and to collaborate with them on attendance building efforts. We provided them customized videos at that time, photography and video assets, and destination-specific information, which was provided by such supporters as Yelp for their dining, nightlife, and bicycle shops, all information that they were anxious to have in advance. In addition, we created an Interbike page on our website with information about the destination, lodging, and transportation, and a general overview of what they could do and expect in Reno during their convention. Then during the convention, our team was actively engaged in social media posts. I have a few examples here of those engagements. We engaged both with the Interbike as well as our own platforms, and I'm just going to read you a couple of those quotes. Interbike may not have been a super busy show, but it was 10 times nicer than Las Vegas for attendees. Dare I say, it was almost relaxing. At Reno is not only better than Las Vegas, it is becoming one of the nicer towns in Western U.S. And then Reno, Lake Tahoe, I was surprised at how much I enjoyed you, these temps, and these views, those happy little trees. So we love that it was some really great positive engagement going on. Our communication team also facilitated several public relation touch points, which resulted in a number of local broadcasts on all the local stations, as well as the newspaper and Univision, which we don't see them come out very often, the Spanish language media, and as well as some industry publications that was both digitally and in print. We welcomed the group to Reno by putting street banners throughout the community, many of them downtown, but also access points from the airport. There was welcoming messaging at the airport and at the convention center. Our staff also worked with the team in the booth at the convention center itself. to help answer any questions they may have about the destination. We also produced a bike-friendly route map for their use while in Reno, which had to be last-minute updated because of the construction of Midtown, but we got those bikes down here, and they seem to appreciate that. In collaboration, we also provided on-site assistance to Reno Cross to inform Interbike attendees about the competition. The bike event was held during the convention and moved from Vegas to concur with the Interbike's move here in Reno. So a great new event to the destination. And we captured video and photography at the North Star Demo Day, at the Convention Center, and the outside track. You'll see some of that video here in a moment. This video footage will also be used for next year's convention and future conventions to help build attendance. So to give you a little taste of the Interbike Week, Market Week.
Really, this is the first year that we've actually debuted the whole concept of an Interbike Market Week. So the combination of the facilities here at Reno, facilities up at North Star and Tahoe, really created an infrastructure that allowed us to do that, and we didn't have that infrastructure in locations where we were previously, and quite frankly didn't really have that in other places that we considered as possible locations for Interbike as well.
We're standing here at Interbike, the 66th largest trade show held in North America, and an annual customer of our destination. This is the business-to-business home for the world's cycling and bicycling industry. The great free ride festival and demo up at North Star Ski Area was a real home run, and the trade show floor was packed with some of the best exhibitors in the industry and attendees from all over the United States and the entire world.
I think the people are really excited for the new venue, the new area. There's new restaurants, there's new breweries, there's trails that are a mile up the road from where we're staying, so it's really nice in that sense.
We've had some great feedback on the convention center itself. Everything is so close. We've got the conference room is really close to the show floor. The hotels, I mean, for the most part, we've had, again, great feedback on the hotels. Getting around town has been easy. It's been a great overall experience.
Being in Tahoe was great, not just from a business standpoint, but we're all athletes. And so we're able to get out on morning runs, we're able to get out on mountain bike rides at North Star, morning rides over Brockway Summit down into Kings Beach. So, you know, it was just nice being there. And we were doing business at the same time, so it was pretty great.
The North Star location was very well received. The biggest complaint I got was there were not enough bikes, and that's a good problem to have. So we'll expand for next year. We'll make it bigger and better, and we're excited about it.
We're from the southeast, so it's a lot different. It's a lot drier out here. It's a lot sandier. It's more desert. It's beautiful. We like seeing a change. All we get is really trees and mud and rocks where we're at. But it's been good. Peavine is a lot of fun. North Star Park is a blast. It's really sandy. You know, you're coming out all covered in sand and dust, but still having fun out there.
Feels like home away from home, right? You know, when you're on single track, some places of the states that all kind of feels and looks the same, but Tahoe has a different look and feel altogether. And of course, Tahoe, just as a place to ride in general, is an amazing place. It's a great destination. So I'm excited that I was here.
I really like Reno so far. Really welcoming group of people. Enjoying it so far.
The inviting attitude that Reno has had, it's made it easy on everyone, I think. And I feel like everyone I've talked to about that has kind of said the same thing too.
When we arrived, the booth was already in the stage where we thought we were going to have a great show. So really thankful to be here and having such good pros working with us.
About 3 minutes of a week-long show, and I hope you got some good information on that. Lastly, I want to share some current information about our out-of-home messaging that we ran this summer in the Bay Area, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Seattle. And it's got more of an urban look than you've seen previously. This, again, just a sampling of some of our out-of-home that ran along freeway access points and airports. Thank you. That's all I have. Up to you. Any questions? Yeah.
When could we anticipate getting like the final numbers on ADR for the Interbike from the hotels, and just understanding where we're at in comparison to what we wanted to contract?
Yeah.
The ADR for the event? Yeah.
So as it relates to Interbike specifically, they're still auditing the room pickup and the ADRs from the hotels. We don't have that information as of yet, but once Interbike provides that to us, we can share that. Correct?
Okay. So we have like next board meeting?
Yeah, by next board date. I would anticipate by the October board meeting. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Esther. A few updates from the world of sales today. So first on the exciting stuff of the numbers. July we finished in terms of convention produced room nights at 15,406 against a goal of 21,524. Of that 15,406, 13,637 was represented by the convention segment and 1,769 in sports. We did make up some of that gap in August. For the month of August, we produced 23,532 against a goal of 18,429. So through the first 60 days of the fiscal year, we're currently pacing a little bit south of the goal at just over 1,000 room nights. So we anticipate the next few months, based on what's in the pipeline, to continue to make up that variance and exceed the goal as we head into the winter months. I wanted to update the board just quickly on a program. You know, we're always striving to bring new business to our destination. And in March of 2018, we held a retreat with all of the sales representatives, the people that are actually representing us out of market, in market. And one of the programs that came out of that, the ideas, was to conduct a program where we really focused on meeting planners and third-party representatives that either had never been to our destination, haven't been to our destination in years, or had a preconceived perception of the destination. It's more focused on introducing these attendees to a destination that is in transition and showing them what has happened in our market over the last year to 2 years and what's coming in the near future. It's the name is we came up with is Biggest Little Site, and hence the name obviously relative to our city, and also to that we strive to bring these individuals to our city with a limited time out of their offices. We know that sites can be very prolonged, very tiring, very exhausting. Everybody wants to showcase everything from the hotels to your airport to your destination, and all those of you obviously with a hotel background can relate to that. So we really want to focus on getting them in. They're here for 24, 48 hours at max, and we provided some collateral on the program itself. We qualify these leads. They must represent 1,000 room nights of business, but like I said, they do not come here with an RFP in hand. We're not at the point where we're bidding on this business. It's really to show them what is happening in Reno and Sparks and North Lake Tahoe. So what do we show them when we're here? We have an agenda that is established. We focused on obviously the Riverwalk downtown, Legends, Trick. We focus on North Lake Tahoe, everything that is really showing very well in our city. And we have 4 fixed dates. The first one just finished over Balloon Race weekend. The second day will be in March of 19, followed by June and July of 2019. The first event resulted in 5 attendees, and out of those 5 attendees, we've already received 2 bids representing north of 7,000 room nights for people that represent business that's never been here. Some of the feedback that we received in quotes from these individuals was, I had no clue, the area has really changed. Reno has so much more than just casinos, no offense, hotel board members, and the city is such a foodie town. I look forward to providing additional updates as we conduct these Biggest Little Site FAMs, mini FAMs, and we think it's really going to work. It's really an opportunity for us to showcase what is happening in our destination and moving forward. Any questions on Biggest Little Site before I move on to the next topic? Yes, sir.
It wasn't necessarily Biggest Little Site, but I did want to ask, there was one of our branch offices that we closed, and I was just curious to know if there was any impact that you've seen yet from the closure of that branch office.
So a good segue into my update. So we did receive 2 resignations in the month of September. Our director of trade show based in Las Vegas, and then also one of our regional directors based in DC. So those both took place in September. We haven't seen any impact of that as of yet. As you know, we have 2 representatives in DC, and Jennifer Abdenor has done an amazing job of picking up the slack there. We are not going to replace the Las Vegas position, the trade show position. We are aggressively pursuing candidates for the DC position. I've already conducted some phone interviews. The team will be traveling to IMEX the week of October 15th. And then at the conclusion of IMEX on that Thursday, I'm going to be flying back to DC with Jennifer to conduct in-person interviews on that Friday and that Saturday, and then we have a client event on that Sunday. So hopefully the goal is to have somebody on board by the 1st to the mid of November. We obviously don't want to have a tremendous lapse in having that second position occupied, but we also want to make sure that we have the right person and the right fit. So hopefully that answers your question. That's my update today. Any questions for convention sales? Okay, thank you. Oh, yes, sir.
Yes, Mike, thank you. Just looking at the sales pipeline, it looks like there was a pretty drastic decline in rooms issued and rooms in the pipeline. Is that a timing issue, or is that something to be concerned of?
Let's see here. Are you looking for the month of July, or for the total room nights? So that's what you're looking at? I'm sorry.
83,000 versus 220.
Yeah, so in the world of sales, a lot of that is timing, right? Of when you get the leads, when you're bidding, and when you're looking at future dates. This is kind of a moving scorecard or a rolling scorecard. So you'll see months where you'll have a significant increase and then the decrease, and obviously over the end of the fiscal year, you hope you see a balance and obviously to exceed the goal and number that needs. The pipeline based on our conversion number is the number of room nights that have to be in that pipeline over the course of a month or the fiscal year. We were trying to look at about a 30 to 34% conversion, which is an industry average, in order just to hit our annual room night goal.
So is it fair to say you feel the pipeline is healthy right now?
It will be, yes. October and November, tremendous amount. So we do a what we call a 30-60 report, which is everything the team has in the pipeline for those months that they anticipate to close within that time frame. And in looking what we have for October and November right now, it's very strong.
And I have one, Mr. Chisel. Looking at the operating margin, looks like we're upside down year over year. Is that a transitional cost, or is that something that we should?
Yeah, well, in July and June are kind of odd months in the sense that it's the end of and the beginning of the fiscal year. So a lot of times costs are exacerbated more so because of the timing of the fiscal year. And there was a number of transitional costs that are still carrying on probably through August. We'll see some. So yes.
Once we get past that,
we should start seeing it calming down. Overall, we're seeing our budget is still solid from what we projected through August. So we're looking okay so far.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you. So on the scorecard for tourism reporting, if you recall in the last fiscal year, we were reporting 11 properties. This year we have increased that to 14 properties. This will continue to enable us to have insight into this important market segment, especially into all the tourism booking channels. For the month of July, we reported with the 14 properties 85,611 room nights, compared to 80,542 last year. We did discover there's the wrong scorecard is in here for that section, just that section, and we'll be sending that out after the meeting for your books. On the China front, we are part of Brand USA. Brand USA is bringing a mega fam of 40 to 45 tour operators from China, and they're going to split up the fam into 4 regions throughout the country, and we were selected as one of the regions. So that's some of the hard work from our team in China and working with Brand USA over there. We're going to have 11 tour operators joining us at the end of October, and those 11 operators represent potentially 2,600 visitors or 1,300 room nights into the future. Additionally, we've confirmed Golden Shine Holiday, which will be their second year next June. Will be bringing us about 100 to 200 consumer golfers, a consumer golf group into the destination. This year they were here with 45, and next year they're going to at least double into next year. And then finally, we did confirm the International Association of Golf Tour Operators. Their conference will be here next June. That'll be about 500 attendees, represents about 1,500 room nights. But what's important about this group, it's that about half of these attendees are golf tour operators, not only from the domestic end, but from internationally. And what happens when we have a group like this that comes into the destination, not only do they come to the destination, when they leave, they keep on selling because they're tour operators. So we're looking forward to highlight all of the great golf that we have in the destination. And that's it for tourism right now. Any questions?
Anybody have questions? Okay. We're going to move on then. SMG July financial reports and general update. Mr. Carr.
Good morning. Pleased to be here. We're here to talk about July, which was our first month of the transition. I'll really be referring to the pages 1, 6, and 7 of the financials that you have in your handout this morning, just to kind of take you through this. For the month of July, we reflected a positive variance from net income compared to budget, just a little bit over $1,000. Wages and benefits, the operational, the indirects, being that by about $244,000. The contracted services is under budget due to the efficiencies of managing contract labor. Direct event income under budget a bit. Rental income was one of the reasons why. Ancillary income, one of the reasons why as well. USA Karate, one of our bigger events, came in a little bit under budget on the rental side, a little bit under budget on the food and beverage side. That's where you see some of those things on the direct side of things. But overall, for the month, we were pretty pleased with what we were able to do during, our first month of transition. As we're looking forward into the future, we are seeing things, there are different ways of reporting things financially, and SMG typically bases their financials on event business. And so we look at the event, we break down the event, and we figure out where the revenues are and where the expenses are. So as we are doing this, we are getting into the budget a little bit deeper. The first month or two here was hiring a team, getting them in place, trying to set up protocols and procedures and things of that nature. So now we're really getting into the crux of things. We're really being able to get in, look at the budget, take a look at the revenues, start doing forecasting, and see where we're going to be long term. So things went very well for Interbike. I'll throw that out as well. We are seeing, they were thrilled to be here. We were thrilled to have them. I know that Dante Nicastro, who's our GM of Food and Beverage with Savor, was speaking to the woman who ran the event, Laura Wimette, and she said, we can't wait to get back here next year, and we'd like to bring more stuff to your city as well. So we're thrilled by that kind of feedback coming in. So we're very happy to play a small part in making Interbike a success here for our destination. So are there any questions that I can answer? I'm up to 8 fish total. Thank you, Mr. DeLong.
Okay, that's what I like, a short presentation. Okay, moving on. Mr. DeLong, we're going to talk about Washoe County Armory update.
Let's see, on June 5th, we met with Washoe County Manager John Slaughter and talked about the demolition of the Armory because the Reno Rodeo Association has shown interest in it, and we all know that the Armory building is useless as a structure anyway. And John at that time said, we're just not quite ready today to drop the Armory, and we may have a need for that site to repurpose it for as he described, a possible health clinic. So, but he said, don't give up hope. It's just today we're just not ready to do that. Okay, and we have a great relationship with Washoe County and Mr. Slaughter. On July 2nd, we had a meeting here at the office with leadership of the Reno Rodeo Association on a variety of subjects, and that discussion that had taken place on June 5th with Mr. Slaughter was verbalized to the leadership of the Reno Rodeo Association and said, gee, it's just not in play at the moment. There's always hope in the air, so we have kept the money for the demolition just in the budget, and then we can either reallocate it or wait to a later time. Mr. Solero's here from Washoe County to answer any questions, but that's really the full report, Mr. Lawson, on the Armory as of today. It's a non-issue at the moment.
That sums it up. Okay. All right, well, let's move on then. Yes, sir.
So, Phil, going forward at the retreat, we will address things probably at the Livestock Event Center and what the rodeo wants to do, correct?
Well, so the meeting we had on July 5, you know, we all had seen during the Reno Rodeo the beautiful video and the animation for the project. I think they call it their legacy project. Right. And we asked, and the number that they were throwing out at that time was that the project was anticipated to cost $125 million, and we asked, well, how'd you arrive at that number? And they really hadn't costed the project out. And we further discussed, said, you know, gee whiz, we're anticipating possibly expanding the convention center, which will require bonding of money. And during that process, we can possibly bond some extra money to address the long deferred maintenance of the Livestock Event Center, which we like. And internally on the staff side, we've identified $8 to $10 million in deferred maintenance there. And we don't need to go through all of those items today. We're well aware of those. And the Reno Rodeo Association said, well, couldn't you bond maybe $50 million for the Livestock Event Center? And, we didn't address it with them, but make a long story short, we encouraged the Reno Rodeo Association to engage a respected third party to do a feasibility study and a 5-year financial business plan for the new legacy project. And one, identify what would it really cost. Two, if it was feasible, meaning if they built the legacy project, would we have sufficient new business to warrant that great expense? And they said that at that time, on July 2nd, they did not have a feasibility study, but they, from that meeting, have indicated that they're in the works of preparing one. That's all we know at this point, sir.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, that opens a whole nother lot of questions, but I guess we'll cross that bridge as we get down the road here. We got to pledge revenue for that. How do we hold the rodeo? They don't have guaranteed funds like we have here. So, all right. Let's move on. Mr. Chisel, F1. Review and possible approval of point of sale system in the amount of $90,668.00.
This is a request to purchase a point of sale system, primarily going to be used for our food and beverage at our facilities. Currently, we really do not have a point of sale system. Saver, who is the subcontractor with SMG, has recommended the NCR point of sale system, so we're looking at a request of $90,668 for the purchase of the point of sale system. We had allocated $500,000 in our capital projects for replacement of equipment in the concession and kitchen areas, and the money would come out of that.
One quick question, and then I will move for approval. But does this require bids to be taken for this, or as it came to as a recommendation, it doesn't have to have the bids?
Well, it's
Sure, I can answer that. No, so there's certain exemptions from the competitive bidding statutes, and this is one of them for computers and associated peripheral equipment. And that it's in the staff report. It's NRS 332-115.
Thank you. Move for approval.
Motion and a second for Mr. Wowo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Enjoy your new computer system. F2, review and possible approval of upgrade to the boardroom audio-visual system in the amount of $56,198.
Robert Chisel again. This is to upgrade the current system we're using here in the boardroom for the audio and visual. As you heard earlier, we had a little bit of problems with it. The current system has reached the end of its life actually quite a while ago, and we're having troubles maintaining it due to the age of it. And so this is looking to replace it. In the budget, we had budgeted $60,000 for the replacement, and we'd request approval to purchase through Diversified Systems International for $56,198 and upgrade to our audio-visual system.
Questions, Mr. Wowo?
I'll move to approve, but just for the record, once we do install this, this is going to be something that we can transfer if we decide to expand the convention center, move to the convention center, correct?
Correct. It would be able to be pulled out of here. It's electronics and
Mr. Murdoch.
Perfect.
Mr. Chisel, this will help a lot of the board members being able to call in, I imagine, because it's such a tough call-in for anybody. So this solves our problems, so you don't have to.
we would still rather have you here
Right.
because we like to see you. But yes, it would, as you saw, it's kind of, you can see the phone system we have to have people dial in,
Yeah.
and you could hear the problems we had. It's just not very conducive for modern technology.
So the newer system will accommodate the phone call.
Yeah.
It's set up for that. Perfect.
And Diversified Systems has done the audiovisual for the Washoe County boardroom, for City of Reno's boardroom, for the bowling stadium also, so they have experience working with local governments.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to second the motion.
Okay, I got a motion by Mr. Welwell, second by Mr. Murdoch. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Authorization for repair of the domestic hot water system at the Reno Sparks Convention Center in the amount of $63,950.
And
Mr. Chisel.
Robert Chisel again. The system over at the convention center has begun to fail. To replace it is $63,950. We requested bids from contractors. They were the only ones that bid on it, and the bid came in at $63,950. The original budget for this project was $120,000, so we felt this was a positive. And due to the tough market of getting contractors to bid on things, we are recommending proceeding, as this is below the budgeted amount, and we felt it was a fair bid.
Questions from the board? Motion. Or Mr. Dillard's going to get the motion, and second by Mr. Murdoch. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Gotta have warm water.
All right, review and discussion of the consolidated summary of interim financials for the RSCVA. Mr. Chisel again.
Again, this is real quick. It's the first month of the fiscal year, and as I mentioned earlier, it's always kind of a odd month as we begin a fiscal year, as anyone knows. We're going to start incorporating these in your monthly board reports, and we just wanted to include this as we go through with the SMG. They present their financials, we'll present ours as well. Overall, revenues were down from prior year and slightly below budget, but again, we're feeling confident that we're going to maintain what our budget is, and we're watching it as we move forward. Be happy to answer any quick questions.
Questions from the board? Okay. Do we need action on this one? Okay. No questions. I'm going to try and set a record here for a board meeting. Board member comments regarding items for future meetings. Mr. Dillard.
Thank you, sir. I have actually 3 items.
Okay.
I'd like to go through, and I'll be brief as well. The first, I'd like to know if Phil and Mike shop for their ties together. I love how their ties are wonderfully coordinated today.
Well, mine is real silk. I'm not sure about Mike's, but.
No comment. Thank you. The next item I'd like to do is I would like to ask Phil and Robert if you all would please, over the next couple of weeks, set up a meeting for the Finance Committee. We've got a couple of topics I think we need to discuss.
And to, yes, specifically the bid on the roof for the exhibit hall at the Livestock Event Center.
Yes, at the bid for the Livestock Event Center roof. Yes, specifically need to discuss that topic. And then the last item is more of a topic for potential future meetings. Is it acceptable for us to ask for an update from the downtown bid and have them come and present to us, given that we're a significant investor?
When, how long has that been in existence now?
It, you know, as Mr. Stadinsky, he is forecasting to try to get the ambassadors online by October 31st, and our next board meeting would be October 25. I'm not sure how much I'm just wondering if it would be prudent to wait till maybe January, February to hear from them, so they got something to talk about. We could, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, we could invite him to the 25th meeting to give you a report on his vision. And
I think that would be really nice. I just think, you know, being downtown, I'm very curious about the ambassador piece and rolling them out by the end of the month. So if it wouldn't have to be maybe tremendous.
I will contact him and invite him to that meeting.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and we'll agendize him for a brief presentation.
Thank you.
Mr. Murdoch.
If I could piggyback on Mr. Diller's second topic, which was the roof of the, there we go again, you know, a piecemeal effect with the Livestock Event Center. So hopefully in the retreat, we talk about the whole picture, because, you know, from what we're hearing is that probably should be torn down, and it costs more money to replace the roof than it did to tear it down and build a new one. So, I mean, I think we really have to come back with the rodeo and with what are we doing, so we don't just throw darts at the board and all of a sudden fixing this and fixing that. I think that's, you know, I know you said it's 8 to 10 million, but it'd be nice to find out really and what they're willing to share and put in too, so how they're going to raise revenues. Be nice to get the total package is what I'm trying to say, Phil, from the rodeo.
SMG will also be attending that meeting and giving us.
Because to me, it's, again, I just think we're throwing it, we're piecing it. Let's get the bigger picture. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Any other items from the board? Okay. Seeing none, I'm going to move on to comments from the public. I don't have any comment cards. Anyone wishing to speak at this time? Okay. My favorite part of the meeting, adjourned. Hey, 50 minutes. Watch out.
Ed, you deserve something for that. You start running all our meetings, okay? There's a mutiny.